Today we're going to visit a fancy restaurant in Singapore. An Australian man named Lucas Glanville runs the restaurant, which is in a big hotel. While you're watching the story, try to listen for words related to food. Here's today's story about this restaurant guru.
The chance to live and work in the bustling crossroads of Southeast Asia continues to attract Australia's best and brightest. And for a young chef, the opportunity to add their distinctive style to one of the region's more interesting eateries was too good to pass up.
Well, I've always been cooking for nearly 20 years. Always had an interest working in Asia, and the opportunity came up, and here I am.
Lucas Glanville runs the Grand Hyatt's main restaurant, Mezzanine. As the name suggests, it occupies the entire mezzanine floor of the Singapore hotel and comprises 9 different dining experiences. Traditional Chinese seafood, Japanese sushi and sashimi, through to Western grilled European delicatessen and desserts.
Mezzanine is about 5 years old. We have 48 chefs in Mezzanine, about 60 floor staff. We do about 20,000 covers a month, with revenue about $1 million. So it's, for a restaurant, it's quite a large restaurant, and the shopping list every week is quite big. The apples and oranges and potatoes and onions, it's a fair old show to drive every day. The funny thing about Singapore, there's no food produced or manufactured here, so we buy our product from all over the world. So we buy a lot of product from Europe, out of the States, and also from Australia. So its proximity and its availability, we can get product here very quickly. As a regional hub, Singapore, I think most planes stop here to refuel in this area here, so we can get product here very quickly. So we can talk to suppliers in Australia, in most capitals of Australia, and have product here within 24 or 36 hours. I think the quality of vegetable, fruit, seafood the quality of seafood coming out of Australia is exceptionally high because of the clean waters there, and also the size of the country. You have tropical fish in the north, and it goes all the way down to the shellfish from down south, from crayfish, lobsters, oysters, scallops. A lot of that product's there. In Asia, there's a lot of aquaculture going on, so a lot of product we can get here, but it's the premium products that sell, and other products that people, abalone, spiny lobster, which is what they call crayfish in Australia. They are the premium products here, which only come from Australia. You can't farm them as well as the natural product. So at the end of the day, that's what the customer wants, and other products that sell. I think the quality of the product coming out of Australia is extremely high, and its proximity to Asia. So they can get product here a lot quicker, which is obviously cheaper. It is cheaper to get product here coming out of Australia than it is from Europe. So you have the time on your side, and also the cost of freight on your side. So if you can get the right product into the right place, it's a pretty simple equation.
The title of today's story is Restaurant Guru. A guru is an expert, a person who's respected for their knowledge about something. The chef that we met in the story, Lucas Glanville, knows a lot about food and restaurants. So we've called him a restaurant guru. What kind of restaurant does Lucas run?
Lucas Glanville runs the Grand Hyatt's main restaurant, Mezzanine. As the name suggests, it occupies the entire mezzanine floor of the Singapore hotel and comprises 9 different dining experiences. Traditional Chinese seafood, Japanese sushi and sashimi, through to Western grilled European delicatessen and desserts.
Lucas Glanville runs the Grand Hyatt Hotel's main restaurant, Mezzanine. As the name suggests, it occupies the entire mezzanine floor of the hotel. A mezzanine is an extra floor between one floor of a building and the next floor up. Notice that it's pronounced mezzanine, but it could also be mezzanine. The restaurant name is a combination of mezza and the number 9. That's because the restaurant is on the mezzanine floor and comprises 9 different dining experiences. Comprises means includes or is made up of. Mezzanine has 9 different dining experiences. Listen again.
Lucas Glanville runs the Grand Hyatt's main restaurant, Mezzanine. As the name suggests, it occupies the entire mezzanine floor of the Singapore hotel and comprises 9 different dining experiences. traditional Chinese seafood, Japanese sushi and sashimi, through to Western grilled European delicatessen and desserts.
Here, 9 different dining experiences is a way of saying the customer can choose from 9 different types of food. Let's go through some of the different types of food. Traditional Chinese seafood is food from the sea cooked in old Chinese style. Japanese sushi and sashimi is made from rice and fish. Western grill is meat cooked over or under very high heat. This style of cooking comes mainly from Western countries. European delicatessen is mainly cooked meats and cheeses from Europe. And desserts are sweets, usually eaten after the main meal. It all sounds very tasty. Where does Lucas buy the food that is cooked at Mezzanine?
The funny thing about Singapore, there's no food produced or manufactured here. So we buy our product from all over the world. So we buy a lot of product from Europe, out of the States, and also from Australia.
Lucas says that the funny thing about Singapore is there's no food produced or manufactured here. Produced means made or grown, and manufactured is another word for made. So no food is grown or made in Singapore. Lucas has to buy product for Mezzanine from all over the world. When Lucas says product, he means the food to be cooked in the restaurant. A more general meaning of product is something made to be sold or grown to be sold. Lucas says they buy a lot of their food from Europe, Australia, or the States. He means the United States of America. What important things does Lucas have to think about before he buys food for the restaurant?
It's proximity and its availability. We can get product here very quickly.
Lucas says it's proximity and availability. Proximity is how close something is. Lucas thinks about how close a country is to Singapore before he orders a product. The availability of something is whether it can be bought or not. Lucas has to think about whether or not a country has the product he needs for Mezzanine. It seems for proximity and availability, he likes buying things from where he used to live, Australia. And that's all for today.